Welcome back to Dubbzi Bricks for episode 2 of building the Tantive in Lego. Now last week we made a corridor section just here, and this was to help us work out how large the actual vessel itself was going to be. Now I've used the same techniques on here as you see in the Lego set just here, and really happy with the design that Lego have come out with. I think it's very screen accurate. The size here, They've got them spot on, I think, looking at the images I've seen. Now, building this has helped me to determine how big the vessel itself needs to be. And it's coming in over 3 meters in length. Originally, I was hoping it was going to be between 2 and 2.5 meters. However, by building it that small, these corridors just didn't work. So something had to give, and I decided, let's make it a little bit bigger, just so I can fit some corridors in there how I want to do so. Now, in regards to the corridors, when you watch the opening scenes of A New Hope, the stormtroopers, they come through that door. And if you're looking at it from the stormtroopers' point of view, they're looking at the rebel troopers. The rebel troopers disappear down the corridor and they turn right. Now, when I was originally planning on building the Tantive, I was going to be building it round this way. So this side had the removable panels. So if the stormtroopers are entering there, it meant the rebel troopers are running off this direction, which is not what I want. I want them to be running towards the centre of the ship. So I'm now going to be rotating it round, and the removable panels on the vessel are going to be on this side. So it's just one small detail, but I thought I need to get these sort of things right from the word go. Otherwise, it's going to create a lot of work further down the line if I need to make the amendments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some grey plates out, just map out the corridors for probably about this section just here. And then once I've done so, I'll start looking at building a Technic structure that I can then build those plates on, and then the corridors themselves on top of that. So let's get the plates out, let's get the Technic bits out, and let's get started. And here is the plates for the corridor section so far. So this is where the Stormtroopers and Vader will come in, and then the corridor veers off to the right and then down here. So I've used some hinge pieces underneath these wedge plates to get it at the angle that I want it to be at. So now that I've done all of this, I can build the Technic frame to go underneath. Now I've built the plate out for this side as well, which will be the opposite to the boarding side. However, I've decided I'm not going to be putting any corridors in there. I only want this as a display piece from one side, so it'd be a waste of parts to put them over that side as well. But I will still build up a brick structure on there, so it's got the same structural integrity as the corridor side. And here we have the start of the core of the ship, the structure that's going to be the main strength of the vehicle. And at the moment, it's not very strong. It bends quite a bit. And I've used so many Technic pins in this. However, obviously, it does need a lot more. So I need to plate it off on probably both the top and the bottom. Now, to give you an idea of the size, here's the micro build on here. And this section just here is 132 studs, I think it is, from this point just here to this point here, and that is just this section of the ship. So it is already starting to make me realise how massive this build is going to be. When I get to the engines, the size of them and the weight of them is just going to be massive. It's going to be gigantic. So I need to make sure that this whole structure around this area here is going to be strong enough to take the weight of the engines and it doesn't sag too much. It would be nice to have the display stand in the centre of the vehicle here. I know it's going to need to be more down the rear end to help take the weight of those engines, but yeah, whether or not I can get away with them being freestanding or whether or not I have to have some support under them, we'll have to cross that bridge a little bit further down the line. Now I've got the plates here. They're all ready to go on this section. That's just this one here goes here, which is where the first corridor is going to be. That angle there is obviously going to be the wall that's going to be going there. That side will have that one on there, and this will be the start of the corridor going down here. Now that plate will carry on all the way down. Now that was the part that I was originally going to be working on next. However, I need to put the bottom part on here, so it's probably better off starting off with a corridor where you see the plans being handed over to R2-D2 by Princess Leia, and then once I've got that corridor in here, I can attach this framework to the bottom framework, and then put the corridors on. So yeah, it's a bit of a juggling act, which way to go about it, what part to do first, but yeah, all good fun trying to get my head around the logistics of this build. It certainly is a challenge, but one that I'm really enjoying. And here we have the revised design for the corridor, and I'm much happier with how this is looking now to my previous attempts at it. I have ordered a lot of these metallic cylinder pieces, as well as the slopes, the inverted slopes with the cut bit out of the back there in light bluish grey. Like I had some in dark bluish grey, which has enabled me to build this section just so I can get an idea for how it looks. Now I've put C3PO up by one plate on there, as I will be tiling the floor. And I just want to see how he looks in relation to the size of the corridor. And all in all, relatively happy with how it's come out. I know I'm not going to be able to get it scale perfect or anything like that, but the closer the better. So yeah, that's how we come along so far. Now I've put a snot brick on the back walls there so I can put some more details, but I do need to do a little bit of research in a couple of different computer games just to see what is actually on the walls. I know you have further down the ship down there will be that direction. We will have the escape pods, so there will be escape pod doors on there, but I'm not sure about this end. I've seen some canisters, which I'll put on the screen now, so I know I can make those. Again, I'm not sure whether or not I can get them in the colour that I want, but we'll do the best we can. If I can't find them in a metallic colour, I'll go for a dark bluish grey, just so there's a bit of contrast between the colours there. Now I haven't put a wall on this side just here, as I'm going to have a removable side on the ship so you can actually see into the vehicle from this side. Basically that side is going to be permanently attached, so there's no need to do so, and have the brick wall on there. But I might put the canisters, they're freestand here, just so you can see a little bit more detail as you go through the build there. I was hoping to be able to get the next section of the fuselage, this part just here, attached to the top of here. However, until I've built up all of these corridor sections here, there's no point in doing so, so I'm only going to have to peel it off further down the line. So I just need to wait for the Lego order to come in. Hopefully it won't take too long. They are all on the best sellers list, so there's no reason for it to take an age to arrive. But yeah, happy with how this is coming along so far. And turning my attentions back to the next floor up on the mock here, and this is the upper fuselage part, which is going to have the actual corridors on. And this is just kept together using some multicoloured filler plate here and some hinge pieces. But what I want to do is actually get these attached to the actual framework itself. So first of all, going to get the plates all attached, and then we'll start building the corridors up. And we're adding a lot of strength to the build here. So all the Technic bricks, I've plated those off with the dark bluish grey plates. Only reason for going for this colour is in case I can see it at any time. At least I know it's all the same colour. And it's also on the pig brick walls. So it's a nice cheap option as well. Then on top of that, I've got some filler plate. And I've put dark bluish grey plate along the sides here so that you can't see any of the multicolour filler plate. And then I've got my light bluish grey plate on the top here, which is what we'll be building the corridors on. Now the reason it's 3 plates deep, I want to put hinge pieces on here and I need them to rest on something. So we put the tile there, so that's level with those plates. So when we put this section on here, which is the angled corridor, then that's all going to be level. And I can push down on that as much as I like and it's not giving way. And all we do, put the other plate on the top there. And now we're good to build the corridors. So just need to put the dark bluish grey tile on there. Haven't worked out how the corner sections are going to go, where it changes angle with that. Need to look at the design of that. But what I'm going to concentrate on doing first of all is plate a section of this off, and then we make a start on the corridors. And that's a good portion of the fuselage all plated off. So we're 3 plates deep once again, the same as on the side here where we're going to have the corridor with the landing, the docking bay, sorry. And we've got our first technical problem. We've got a gap that's just down here, and it's not quite a stud, as you can see, but it's also a very weird measurement. I thought I could get away with putting one of these bracket pieces on with some tiles and then just sliding it in there. But as you can see, it is just a little bit different from that size-wise. It's quite a little bit smaller, and it's almost the width of a tile going in here. So if I just slide that in, there will still be a very small gap. So I just need to work out a way of keeping the tile in place, but also again, so it's high enough that it's flush with the floor section just there. I was considering using one of these. However, when you put a tile on top and the tile on the front there, there is a very slight difference. So that would be a little bit lower. Now, unfortunately, I can't put a tile upright like so. as we've got all Technic bits in there. So yeah, it's proven to be quite a challenge trying to work out how I'm going to fill that gap, but I'm sure we'll find a way. And that's the gap filled in absolutely perfectly. So what I can do is build up all of the walls along the edges just here. Though I've got a couple of studs here, I'm not bothered about those because it's an opportunity to place a minifigure or two on them. And I'll probably scour a few more studs exposed on the top of the rest of the corridor along here. But anyway, let's start building the corridors up, and we'll check back in once we've done so. And here is the start of the corridors, and it's exactly the same design as you get in the Tantive hallway Lego set. Now, you would have seen in the time lapse I moved these plates back just here, and that was so that I could add the door panel onto it. So I wanted to have a couple of doorways along the wall here, so that was the reason for that. Now, I will remove these plates on the front edge just here eventually, and what I'll do is I'll tile off the first couple of studs on there. Reason being, I want to have a panel which slides in and out. So the opposite side of this panel-wise, I will still build it up, as I might just have a removable top as well. I want it so that can just slide in and out. On this end here, this is the next part we're going to be working on, and I'm going to build the walls up on here, and then I've got to tackle this edge just here. And this is going to be quite tricky. Being at a 45-degree angle, obviously the studs are pointing in the right direction, so that's easier. However, trying to get this corner section just here, and I have the same around here looking good, I'm not sure how I'm going to be going about that. So yeah, a lot of experimenting we're going to need to do with that. You can't get these too close together as they don't join properly just there. So it is a case of working out how far apart to have them, and then just build the wall up behind it, and there'll just be a slight gap in there. So I've got to improvise somehow, but fingers crossed we'll find a solution that looks good. Anyway, let's start building this corridor up here, and then we can tackle that one. And I feel like I'm getting somewhere with this wall at a 45-degree angle here. I put a snot brick on the end here with a tile on the front, and that's touching that wall there nicely. So that's that gap all covered up. The only gap I think I will be having is just between this plate here and the wall. It is a quarter of a plate. However, I think when you're looking from here with the dark bluish grey tiles that will be on the floor, I don't think it's going to be noticeable. So that's all good. On that stud just there in the corner, I'm going to be putting a pipe going up, so you won't actually see the step in the brickwork just there. And I'll also be putting one on the stud just to the left of that curved slope there. Yeah, anyway, let's carry on building these walls up and see how it comes out. And here are the two sections resting on top of each other, and I'll just put some temporary support beams in here just to hold it in place, and loving how this corridor section is coming along. It's a shame it can be a bit bigger, but for the space that I've got available, I'm really pleased with what it's looking like so far. And the view that you have from the boarding hatch just down there, I think looks really good. And the 45-degree wall, 45-degree angle wall, I think has come out quite well. I don't know if it's a little bit narrow there, but yeah, it is what it is. There's not a lot I can do about changing it. I don't really want to cut across here, as the view that you see from there, that's all that really matters. And obviously you're going to be seeing from this angle as well. With these lower sections, I'm thinking about starting them around about here and then going along this part just here, I'm thinking about actually having a support beam to help take the weight of the this section just here, as it is really heavy and it wants to come down, and it is actually popping the floor on the inside there due to the weight of it. So I do need to do some structural work on that, but yeah, I've ordered all the pieces in that we need to do all of these, so that's going to be good to get those done next time out. I just need to work out, as I mentioned earlier, on the finer details that be going on the wall section. But really pleased with what we've managed to get done in the last month. It's been great fun building this Tantive IV, and I can't wait to carry on doing so. Now, I am away for part of December, going back to the UK to visit family for Christmas. Next update will be out on New Year's Day, so I'm not going to be able to get as much building done as I would like, but we'll still be working on this and Gotham all the same. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you know anybody else you think would be interested in building the Tantive or building Gotham, if you could share the channel with them, it really would be appreciated. Anyway, thanks for walking on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.